Howdy, howdy. David Getz with you again. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Dovoh laser and receiver. So last time we tested out the Dovoh H3 360G laser, and today we're going to use it combined with the Dovoh DR1 receiver. What this is used is primarily outside conditions where lighting is an issue and seeing the laser. The receiver will pick up that laser line right in this this reading area here, and it'll tell you right exactly where the laser is located. So that's what we're going to look at today. First things, this thing has three buttons right here down at the bottom. The center one is what turns it on and off. This one on the left adjusts the volume, so you can either have the unit with no sound, there's a low volume and high volume, and then the other indicator over here gives you either a rougher dimension or a fine dimension detection point, so a little more accurate when it's on that fine location there. The other thing to note on this receiver, you can see this indentation on both sides. What that line is that indicates the center of the laser line. So if you're reading a horizontal line, you'd be holding the receiver like this with those indentations on the side. Vertical, you just flip it sideways and you'll catch the center line of that vertical laser going that way. Another cool attachment that comes with the receiver is this little holding clamp, and how that works is the receiver has these two slots in the back, and this attachment just slides right into, oops, wrong way, that goes right into those two slots, and that allows you to clamp it down. We're going to use this level here in a little bit, but that allows you to clamp this thing on, in this case to a level, so you can hold that level line, and just makes it easier to position the receiver in the correct location. It also comes with a couple of magnets on the top if you have a piece of steel that you just want to hang that thing from the magnet. So a couple options there to make your life a little easier. Pretty cool stuff. One final feature that is worth noting before we head out into the field is, you notice this is the front of the receiver, and we have our display on the front. Well, the cool thing is, see, there's also a display on the back. Shows you the exact same information. So depending on how this thing gets held, you can see it on both sides of the receiver. Makes it very easy and saves a lot of time. So let's pack up our stuff and head on out to the field and see exactly how well this works, reading the laser outside. Alrighty, here we are out in the field, and what we're going to do is we're going to test the laser, and we're going to use it to see exactly how straight and how square these walls are. So what you can see on this house, they have poured the foundation, and they are now framing the floor structure on it. And it's pretty common knowledge in the industry that concrete foundations are not always really level and square, and so it's really up to the framer to make up those deficiencies. So like if you look right down here, you can see where this sill plate has been, it overhangs the foundation about a ½ inch or so. So we do know based on that the framers have done something to accommodate the out of squareness of the foundation. We just want to double check their work to see if indeed it is square. So what I've got going on here is I've set the laser up, and we have put the laser line right in the center of this rim joist, and it goes all the way down. It's about 40 feet down, and there's really, in this outside natural lighting, that laser line just kind of disappears at the other end. I mean, you can clearly see it right here, When you get down there, you can't see it. So that's where you really want to rely on a receiver like this one to pick it up. So again, we're about 40 feet, so I'm just going to hoof it on down there, and I'm going to locate that laser line, and when it starts beeping, and you'll be able to see it in there, the line, right when it matches it, we'll be able to see exactly where it's at. So, I don't know if you can see this thing clearly, but you should be able to hear the beep. So I do know that the laser is, or the receiver is in range of the laser. And so as we're going, if you can see that line, or that arrow is pointing in the direction that the laser needs to go. So when I position that over, it starts beeping, and it tells me, boom, right there, we're center line, which is right center of this joist. So what that tells me is that we are, right now, we've just established that that end and this end, it's right in the center of the joist. So if I just randomly pick a spot right here in the center, we can read this thing again until we hit the center of the laser, and right there, center of the joist. So it looks like this wall is pretty straight. They did a good job. So now what we want to do is we want to take another reading heading this direction to see how square this foundation is. So in order to do that, right now we just have the one vertical line coming out this side port. Now I've added the second vertical line coming off of this side port. So if I put a tape measure right here, that reads 3.5 inches. So when I go on this end, if that measures that same 3.5 inches off the inside of the rim joist, then that tells us that this joist is perpendicular to the building. And actually here, you can see I don't even need to use this receiver, because I can see the line here. Now this is about 20 feet, so that laser does have a pretty good projection. And I measure over here, and that is 3.5 inches plus. So did a great job. I mean, they're within a 1/16 of an inch, so kudos on the framer. All right. Alrighty, so now that we've established that the framing here is nice and square, pretty straight, we want to see exactly how level this foundation is. Now you could walk around with a 6-foot level and check everything, and it might read level everywhere, but you're also not getting an accurate reading over this great of a distance. So we can test for level with the same laser. Now instead of using the vertical lines that we use for testing for square, we'll jump over to the horizontal line. And what that does is, so now this laser, as you can see, it's shooting out in all directions, shooting out a level line. So what we want to do is we want to use that reference point, and we can check it all the way around the foundation to see how level it is. Now again, as I mentioned before, that laser line is going to be indistinguishable when we get 40 feet away. But right up here where we're going to start, just to show you how that works. So in this application, we are going, because our indentation lines are right here. So that's going to read our, as you can see, that laser, once it gets into that, oh, I guess it would help to turn it on. And we'll get that volume turned up so you can hear it beeping, and then right when it reaches that center point, it's kind of jumping around, but you can see once it goes in between those arrows, it's level. So what I want to do is I'm going to use this small level to attach our laser to it, and reading right here, I need to make sure that this thing stays fairly plumb to get an accurate reading. So we're going to drop this down until that laser reaches that center point. And okay, so looks like, let's go ahead and pause that. All right, so now that we've got this thing all positioned, what I'm doing is I'm just kind of keeping this bubble pretty much so it's in the center, and you can see this thing's jumping around a little bit, which is normal, but we are lined up with our indentation, so that tells me that that's level right here. So because this is a fixed dimension from here to that line, now I can walk anywhere around this foundation and just set this on top and see how level it is. Now, see, I could bring this up like this and use a tape, but we might lose our laser line way over there, but this thing will read it. So we'll start down this long wall first. Okay, so you can see this one is pretty good. It looks like it's about an 1/8 inch out of level here. Still not too bad for 40 feet. So again, we're about that same 1/8 inch out here. Okay, now this side is an 1/8 inch out in the other direction. So that tells us that we're maybe about a 1/4 inch out of level from that corner to this corner, but it is an 1/8 inch from our starting point to here and here, just they go in the opposite direction. So overall, give a thumbs up to the framer. This is good information to know before you, or as you're building. So if you're out a little bit, you can make those adjustments as needed later on. So good job.